Number 1 is next, but first, let's review our countdown of the greatest upsets of all time.
Number 10, the Vikings veer off course in the Bayou.
Things were not going to go well for the Vikings that day.
Number 9, San Francisco succumbs to a playoff shocker.
Very few postseason games I've ever seen surprised me more than that one.
Number 8, Buffalo misses its best chance at a championship.
Giants have won!
Until they win a Super Bowl, I'll always feel like a loser.
Number 7, the Joes own the pros in Dallas.
You love the underdog. This is a night for you.
Number 6, the wild card Wildcats best the Broncos.
Jaguars have done the improbable.
Number 5, Elway lays it on the line for a Lombardi trophy.
I can remember exactly how it felt.
Number 4, the Browns show the Eagles how it's done.
We were so ready. We were foaming at the mouth almost.
Number 3,
Tom Brady, overrated.
remembering when Tom Brady was the underdog.
Fires right. Touchdown!
Number 2, for New England, 1 is the loneliest number.
The Patriots will not be perfect.
18-1.
And now, the number 1 upset of all time. Broadway Joe guarantees Super Bowl III.
Super Bowl III is the biggest upset. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Super Bowl III is going to remain pro football's greatest upset because of the circumstances and the time.
The circumstances were these. The NFL's Colts were 19-point favorites over Joe Namath's Jets, members of the upstart American Football League.
The conventional wisdom held that the American Football League was probably still a decade away from being competitive with the best teams in the NFL.
The Colts weren't just the champions of the National Football League. They were being talked about as maybe one of the great teams of all time.
The Baltimore Colts are heavier favorites to win this Super Bowl game than Green Bay was in 1967 and 1968.
The Packers had won the first 2 Super Bowls, obviously representing the NFL.
Green Bay strikes quickly here.
So they've won the first 2 in pretty convincing fashion. I don't think people thought the Jets were as good as the Chiefs or the Raiders that lost Super Bowls 1 and 2.
I mean, there are a lot of AFL people that went into Super Bowl III sort of with one hand over their face thinking, oh, God, this is going to be worse than the last 2 games.
Far, far away in a kingdom on the coast, there was a little prince who made a mighty boast. I'll throw that beam, he said, and straight I'll make it go. There's no doubt about it, said the boy named Broadway Joe.
There was a lot of fuss made about my guaranteeing the victory.
Thursday night before the game, Joe Namath not only predicts victory, he guarantees it.
We're going to win the game, I guarantee it.
And this is supposed to now given Baltimore even more of an incentive, and they say that it has added maybe a 2-touchdown edge to the Colts. We'll see how it all comes out.
They should have been very upset that Joe guaranteed the game. If they were as good as what they said they were, they should have came out and beat the out of us.
And then on Sunday, the biggest star in the game, the biggest city in the game, goes out and on the sport's biggest stage, orchestrates the biggest upset in pro football history.
I mean, that makes it a transcendent kind of story.
He may be sitting in one of sports' greatest upsets in history.
He managed the game masterfully.
We get another score, though. We need another score. Namath, red hot. Everybody thought he'd get killed in this game. He has killed Baltimore so far. That's Snell's been the outstanding runner so far. He's in there. Snell scored.
You know, they dominated that game. They dominated the game.
Intercepted.
I mean, everything that could go wrong went wrong that day.
They had Jimmy Orr all alone, and they didn't see him.
We just got outplayed.
The game is over. The New York Jets are the world champions. They have upset the Baltimore Colts and beat them handily here today.
It was shocking that the Colts lost the game.
You got to have confidence in your team. You got to have confidence in yourself. And if you don't have that confidence, you can't play football.
The significance of that game, it was really more than just the Jets winning against the Colts. We won for the league.
I believe the AFL won over many football fans because that underdog Jet team came through.
World Championship football team.
Our number one upset's greatest legacy was what it did for the game and the AFL-NFL merger.
The feeling was the real championship game is the NFL title game. This Super Bowl thing is just an anticlimax. The Friday before Super Bowl III, Pete Rozelle allowed that the league was looking at rejiggering the playoff structure so 2 NFL teams might play in a Super Bowl one day.
Is this a win or outspoken?
I don't know about that. I know it's a hell of a loss for those folks who picked it the other way.
Historically, I think it was the greatest upset.
If the Jets had been blown out in that game, the distinction between the American Football Conference and the National Football Conference would be much less pronounced than it is today.
It was really the game that made pro football, I believe, today.
Unfortunately, we've reached the end of our list. And if you're upset by our list of upsets, you're not alone.
Jacksonville Jaguars over the Denver Broncos in the '96 playoffs. That should be top 3.
I don't rate that as a major upset.
I would probably put the Giants beating the Bills in Super Bowl 25 ahead of the Rams-Patriots.
A Super Bowl win got to be rated at least higher than a replacement game.
We are the Washington Redskins.
This one's for John.
Elway quarterbacking a team, how much of an upset is it?
Man, I thought this was just a picture or something.